All right, good morning. Well, my name is Cody Busson, and the topic that I chose to tell you about today is whether or not addiction is a brain disease. A few reasons why I chose this topic, but it seems interesting to figure out whether or not all the drug addicts, gambling addicts, and sex addicts have a brain disease or not. Also, every day we all come encounter with people who suffer from many different types of addiction, such as nicotine, gambling, alcohol, sex, drugs, food, etc. Regarding these addictions, I'm sure we would all like to know whether or not these people have a brain disease or if it's simply just an obsession. I seem to find a lot of answers to my question in chapter 3 of our psychology book, and the reason or how this topic relates to our class is addictions processed through the brain, which goes up through the hippocampus through to the dopamines in the brain, and it affects the brain a lot. To become addicted to a product, first you must enjoy the product at least a little bit to want to try it again, and as you continue to reuse the product over and over, you become addicted because the dopamines in the brain enlargen and become dependent upon the product. Once the dopamines become so enlarged, you need the product every day. You can become an addict, and then without the product in your system, you can go through withdrawal, which is when you cannot function without this product. Okay, now on to the supporting side of our detail. Addiction is in fact a brain disease. It has been proven through psychologists and scientists, and they have scientifically proven addiction to be considered a brain disease. Addictions create abnormalities in the brain, and with this fact, scientists they grew stronger on reasoning why they thought addiction was a brain disease. Using drugs frequently over time changes the brain structure and how it functions. And after quitting a drug or any type of object that you use every day, the brain just doesn't go right back to its normal state. It takes time to go back to the normal state. And also, another finding of my research is when an individual who's addicted to a substance cannot function properly and get through an average everyday, can't get through their day, then they must have a brain disease. To the refuting side, a few reasons why addiction should not be classified as a brain disease are most of our actions as a person are enjoyable, and we can become attached to them. So how can one thing be an addiction and then another thing such as like playing video games or exercising, how could that become an addiction which would lead to a brain disease? Another reason addiction should not be considered a brain disease is there aren't ingredients in some substances which cannot lead to addiction, because if there's no base form of why you're addicted to this product, then how can it be addictive? My last and final reason to why addiction should be considered a brain disease is most brain diseases can only be treated with a surgery, and your average addiction with nicotine or alcohol, you don't need surgery to complete the addiction process of not being addicted. To conclude my presentation, I'd like to tell you that I do believe that addiction is a brain disease. At the beginning, I didn't think so much. I figured I would stand on the refuting side of the detail. But with the information provided, I'm a firm believer that addiction is a brain disease, because if you need a substance to get you through your everyday life, then you must have a brain disease. That's all.